But the thing is, like at that time, like we heard about it, but we weren't sure how to like use it because there wasn't many examples. But today, like all the companies are actually implementing their own MCPs. Like whatever product you are using, if you search product name MCP, like let's say you are using Box MCP, you will find that they have an MCP implementation, which is probably mcp.box.com. And then you go to your ChatGPT or Claude or whatever AI product you are using, and then you connect with it as a connector. And once you connect with it, then you're gonna be able to do anything that their API has.
Hi, my name is Demetri Panici, and I'm a content creator, agency owner, and AI enthusiast. You're listening to the AI Agents Podcast, brought to you by Jotform, and featuring our very own CEO and founder, Aytekin. This is the show where artificial intelligence meets innovation, productivity, and the tools shaping the future of work. Enjoy the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the AI Agents Podcast. In this episode, I'm here with Aytekin, and we're talking about MCPs. How you doing, Aytekin?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's the September, and we are back doing our episodes once per week. So I'm glad that we are able to do that. More episodes.
Yeah.
And we so well.
You know, we've been interviewing a lot of different founders, but we like to talk to our favorite founder, And we've missed you on the show, and I'm sure everyone else has. So we're really excited to dive into this one. And for those of you that aren't aware, MCPs are a topic that has come up in the last couple months, more popular. We're going to dive into what it means, how it got started, and also show you some practical examples so that you understand how it works, and obviously show you the Jotform MCP, which, for those of you that are unaware, what's really cool is Claude, kind of the first company to pioneer the MCP protocol. And for our fans here, as you can see, we're featured on there, which is awesome. So it's a really great thing to be featured here on the page, where in the Premier Partner page, where it feels like MCP reigns supreme because of what Claude did in the introduction. Here is the MCP protocol or just to state the full name, the Modal Context Protocol was essentially a open source protocol that is standard for connecting AI assistants to system where data lives. So what's really great about this protocol is that a lot of companies have essentially adopted this. And it's a really great way for communication to occur between the data in a less, I would say, stringent manner. To those of you that want to get a good look at it, this is a good explanation. So before MCP, right, what you essentially have is a bunch of unique APIs. And those unique APIs essentially have specific input-output fields, so to speak, right? And what you're attempting to do is have the LLM interact with that, which is a little bit difficult. However, especially when you're adding in multiple tools at once, right? You ask a question and there's a bunch of different tools that are needed, right, to essentially do a task, find something, enact a process, whatever it is, like send a Slack message and like add something to your Google Drive. Say, for example, you're interacting with a set of data and you want to send a message and do that. It was very difficult because you're essentially having to take all these unique field-based APIs and have it try to interact with the LLM at once. But this one protocol, as you can see, takes it from this one unique angle and then pipes it into this one specific, let's say, language, like, so to speak, right? It's a unique protocol and language that all of them are able to speak universally. So the LLM can then interact with multiple tools at once in a very natural, conversational way, the same that the way that we naturally experience interacting with a LLM, right? When we're asking it questions.
I like the words like unified API there, like on the charts you're showing.
Yeah, this right
basically, here. So what it does is all these products, they have an API, but integrating with an API is not easy for an LLM because everybody implements a different kind of API, and it's not very clear. They are usually not very well documented. Usually, like when you're integrating with a product, like you have to read the documentation. A
Absolutely.
developer has to read the documentation, learn it, and then use it, right? But with the MCP protocol, basically all those documentations are kind of included in with the API, and kind of you define how the API works, and also the integration with the kind of like the authentication is also included. For example, in the case of Jotform MCP, the first time you are actually, let's say, integrating your uh, Jotform MCP with your ChatGPT or Claude, basically it's gonna show a pop-up or a Jotform Connect pop-up, and you will authenticate with Jotform. So basically, from that point on, ChatGPT or Claude actually knows your which Jotform account you have, and then it has a connection to it. So after that point, anytime like you want to do something, let's say you want to create a form, basically it's going to be able to go into your account and be able to create a form. If you integrate with Gmail, it's going to be able to go into your Gmail account and do things. So basically it's, and I love somewhere I heard that basically someone was actually making a comparison to USB-C. Basically
Sure.
it's the
Yeah.
USB-C for the APIs. So USB-C in the real world, right? Before USB-C, every hardware device actually had their own implementation of their like plugs of their like the cables, right? You had a different one for Android, you had a different one for Apple, iPhone, different, like all kinds of different things. And
Yeah.
basically with USB-C, now you can connect anything to anything. USB-C doesn't just brings power to your device, but it also can transfer data, which means like the way you connect your microphone to your computer, instead of connecting your microphone to your computer, you can actually connect it to your phone as well, and it's going to work. And this time, it's going to actually probably bring power from your phone to your microphone, and also be able to like send data from your microphone to your phone. So it's whatever devices you integrate in, it will work. The MCP, the Modal Context Protocol, works the same way. Basically, your LLM can now understand the API, like what kind of functionality is available with that product. And the other thing is, it doesn't have to be a product. It doesn't have to be like, as is shown on the screen, Slack or Google Drive or GitHub. It can also be integrated with your database if you create an API for your database. You can even integrate your MCP, your LLM, with your desktop, which means like you can say things like, "Okay, on my computer, find these kind of files." Basically, if you have that MCP implementation, it's going to be able to use it like an API to query your file system, your operating system, to be able to do things in your computer as well. So basically, you can turn anything, not just other products, into connected with your AI, and this gives you so much power. And it's like the agentic AI, the that's the power of the agentic age, being able to do anything from your AI. And MCP has been around for a while. It's like the article you showed us
It was
was
November of
actually
last year.
yeah, it's almost 1 year. But the thing is, like at that time, like we heard about it, but we weren't sure how to like use it because there wasn't many examples. But today, like all the companies are actually implementing their own MCPs. Like whatever product you are using, if you search product name MCP, like let's say you are using Box MCP, you will find that they have an MCP implementation, which is probably mcp.box.com. And then you go to your ChatGPT or Claude or whatever uh, AI product you are using, and then you connect with it as a connector. And once you connect with it, then you're going to be able to do anything that their API has. Suddenly, the chatbot actually turns into an agent for you, and it's amazing. I know that you have some
No,
great
you're good.
examples.
No, that's a good explanation. No, I think that's a great thing to point out, and I really like the analogy. I'm not sure who said it, but I think the analogy that you said just there for the USB-C is actually really, really good one, right? Because there's so many different tools out there right now, and so many different APIs that exist. And I'm familiar with having to attempt to connect APIs to I mean, obviously you do, as someone who's a software founder, like it's like you need people who are, when you're hiring them, you even need developers that are like API developers, right? Like specific types of developers at that point to connect stuff. So like there'll be entire people at companies like yourself, I'm sure, that are developers that are catered towards more like an integrations developer because of the complexity of each API, right? I don't know if maybe that's how you staff it, but
Like whenever we need to integrate Jotform with a third party, like we have like a team that's like literally working for a month to build an integration. Like they are writing like hundreds of lines of code. They have to
yeah,
spend time reading the documentation for, let's say, bugs, and then understand their API, and like just
yep,
think about how how Jotform can be integrated with them and build that integration. But in the age of MCP, you can actually do that. The AI can actually do that. Like our developers don't have to work on that. And this is, theoretically possible, but we haven't actually worked on that. But I think that's an amazing idea. And
yeah, and
basically, you
that's
can
really the
build
value there, right? That makes it so much easier to I mean, expand the scope of connections between tools, and that's what everybody ultimately wants. And just last note on the, you remember what it was like to have a million cables in your bag. I still have a couple, right? But it's gotten less and less because USB-C is so good. And just to call out, you mentioned the capabilities of MCPs when it comes to connecting with like your email. Let me show you some of the core ones that essentially, if you go here instead of your Claude, you have the ability to connect tools that are like Gmail oriented. And this is the connectors list, as you can see here. And you could add in custom connectors, right? And you'll see Aytekin's going to go into connecting Jotform here in a second. But, I could even add my Notion one real quick if I wanted, just to kind of show you in Claude how it works. But it's essentially a really easy process. All you got to do is go and find the proper MCP, right? And MCP URL. So I'm here on Claude's website, copy Notion, right? I'll go back, paste it in there. I trust it. And then it's going to ask me to connect, right? Through, as everybody knows, your classic like OAuth authentication, right? So it's really not hard at all. I just connected my Notion account. Like that was so easy, and I have the ability to interact with it now. And they have suggested ones by default set up in products like ChatGPT and Claude right now, like your Google Drives, your SharePoints, etc. So we deal with a lot of PR agencies for people coming and reaching out and saying, hey, we want, this person would be a good fit for the show, right? And I was asking someone on my team, I was like, hey, can you like find all of them? I'm sure like you could just go through the inbox and check. And then Aytekin mentioned we were going to do this MCP episode. And I was like, And then I typed into Claude with my connected Gmail, and I said, can you go through my email and find all the people who work at PR agencies and their companies? And what it did is it, figured out some examples of PR agencies on the internet. And then from there, it searched through my messages and checked all the potential podcast guest like inquiries, and checked whether they were like from specific people themselves or whether they were from PR agencies. And we found a bunch of people that were reaching out, right? And it's like, oh, that's the list. Thanks. Because my buddy's like, or not my buddy, sorry, my teammate was like, I think it might take me like an hour or two to find all that. And then I put this in here, and quite literally, it took, I think the time, there might be a report on how long it took, I'm not sure. I recall somewhere in the 5-minute range, 4-minute range, which is actually kind of crazy fast if you think about it practically. Because if you're going to go through and sort through it yourself, probably would take you an hour or 2 hours. And that's some of the practical implications of MCP. You can ask questions to tools rather than needing to sort through the information itself, if that makes sense.
And you can also ask it to turn this into an Excel file or a CSV file. You can upload to Google Drive. You can even probably integrate with Google Drive and then say, turn this into a Google
and
Sheet.
Upload it to Google Sheets. Yeah.
Once you turn it into a Google Sheet, then maybe the next time you could say, create draft emails for these people, telling them, okay, here is our currently, for and then if you decide to have them in our podcast, then you can. All you have to do is like click on send on that draft. It's already ready. And then you just automation handled everything, and you just made the approval part of that workflow, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, and you'll see with what Aytekin will get into as well. You can put allow unsupervised for, and maybe this is what we were seeing beforehand, but if I press like allow unsupervised, what'll happen is that essentially, if I work with Notion, right, it has the different things that the API can do in here. And essentially, when I'm asking it to do stuff, it'll semantically figure out all of these different events. So if I, for example, were to say, make a Notion page for XYZ, or in the case of the Google Drive, like you said, make a file, like this is the capabilities it has, and it's just going to do it naturally rather than in a specific formatted way that you have to do. If anyone is here and familiar with APIs, it's a skill set, right? Like I'm very good at it. There's not a lot of people I know personally that aren't developers that spend a lot of time making a lot of automations that are like high level. Sure, people can put together a Zapier thing, but when you get into complicated workflows, I think this is going to open up a lot of realms for people to not even need to go that route, and they can just ask questions and chat with it. And unlike me, who would be like, I'm going to make an automation real quick to backfill a bunch of information, because that would save me time, but I'm really quick at making it. Other people, probably not. Now, random person on the team, now that they know this is an option, they can go into our Claude account and just type up and ask questions about the Gmail. So it's not as much of a problem.
Yeah. It's cool. I'm going to show the Jotform example now.
Yeah.
Share my screen. First, I'm going to show you like, you show the Claude. Let me show you the ChatGPT one. The same things actually work on Claude as well. I'm sure it also worked on Gemini. I haven't tried that one. Basically, you have all these, main ones here. So on ChatGPT, but if you want to add your own, you click on this create button, and as you can see, Jotform here, it actually came from that. But I'm going to show you how to do that. Basically, new connector, it says icon is optional, but I will give you Jotform form builder or something like that. I already used Jotform name, and I enter the basically the MCP server URL, which for Jotform mcp.jotform.com, and load, and I trust this application. That's it, and you get this URL from whatever product you want to connect from there, and then you say create. And this is gonna basically look at mcp.jotform.com. It's gonna find out about all the available options for this product to be able to use. And so basically, it's integrating with that. So integrated with Jotform form builder, connected, save the scan, MCP Jotform. So what actions it can take? We can see it here. It can show me a list of the Jotform forms I have. It can create a new form. It can edit an existing form. It can create a submission. Basically, just like I would, submit a form, I could create a submission by just typing add this to my form submission. And it can actually get my form submission so that I can basically query my form submissions, and I'm going to show that next.
Mm-hmm.
So so basically on ChatGPT now, like you have to open the developer mode to be able to use it, which is
Yeah.
like, you go here and then it just shows you the developer mode. As soon as you add, I don't know why this, but I guess it's just in the future probably you will not be able need to do that. But for now, it's just ChatGPT just introduced this recently, so maybe that's why they wanted to hide it a little bit. But basically, here you can enable it or you can connect to another product. Right now, because I'm just connected to Jotform, it's showing it here. In my query, I can enable it or disable it. It's enabled now. So okay, so we had a launch party. I want to create a survey. Create a survey in Jotform for our launch party. Yeah, basically I asked that. Let's see how it performs. So basically it's looking at the available tools, using the API tool. It's using the create form function in Jotform, and it's asking me to confirm. Uh, so now it's going to Jotform using the MCP to create a form for me on my account. Oh, it's ready. Wow. It even has this celebration icon. You can access and share it here. Launch party survey. Let's take a look at this. Launch party survey name. I like the name, email, RSVP. Dietary it sounds like this is for an you know like this is like an RSVP. So this is not really a survey. So I want to change it a little bit. I want to change it, recreate it, because the survey is for a past party. So we want to get their feedback. I wasn't clear on that. Um, so it's gonna go ahead and create a new form for me. Okay, that was fast. Uh, look at the new one. Feedback survey for past lunch party. I would probably edit this to say just launch party, name, email, overall experience. Perfect. It's great. I will have 5. And uh, okay. And okay, I will submit this. But I submitted this, but I want to make a change. I want to like change the title, and remove past. Let's see how it will do that. So basically, I'm like, instead of using Jotform's form builder, I'm now actually updating my form by just talking to ChatGPT. I don't even have to learn Jotform. I could just like I could just be someone who have never visited Jotform. I guess I have to create an account. Uh, let's take a look at the updated form. Feedback survey. Looks like it wasn't able to change that. Okay. So okay. Launch party feedback survey. Titled. It says titled, but doesn't seems to have changed it. So yeah, I mean it's LLMs. Sometimes they will do things like that. Okay. So I will try again. Change the title of the form. Oh, I think it's just changing the title. I think it's like a headline of the form to to party feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think it means like, so in Jotform you can actually change the title of the page, My guess is it's changed that. Let me take a look at that. Probably why it made that. Okay, let's take a look at this one. Okay, yeah, this time it worked. Part of the feedback. We value your feedback. So let's give another feedback. So now I have 2 submissions on my form. So both 5. Let's submit this. And now I'm gonna go back to so I'm gonna go back here and I'm gonna ask like analyze the results. The results of the survey form and yeah, just analyze it. That's it. So it's basically getting the
Nice.
data. Um, okay, it found 2 submissions from me, and event rated at highest 5.5 both submissions. So now I have an analysis of my submissions. I haven't even like looked at Jotform's results. Can you create some charts? Some charts? Yeah. So now, from this analysis, it will probably create charts about my feedbacks, like 5-star ratings. Okay, yeah. Overall experience 2, number of responses 2, and then ratings 5. So it's showing me a distribution of my ratings here, and it's showing like overall experience 5. Maybe I should have picked 4 so that it has some more colors, but
Yeah.
because it basic, I'm using Jotform without going to Jotform, and this is amazing. And so basically, this means that just like what you showed with
Yep.
the Gmail examples, basically you can use products from your ChatGPT. And now think about the other features ChatGPT released, right? ChatGPT, was it called Tasks? I
Yeah.
think it
There
was
was tasks. Yep.
like you could actually create. You can actually say, okay, go and do this every day. So now, basically, you can ask it to send you and then you can also send an email using Gmail, using MCP, right? So you could just say, okay, every day, look at my results, and then create a chart, and then email that chart to me. That's it. And it's that simple. It's like just your human language. It's like you don't have to learn how to use Jotform UI. Like we have spent thousands of hours optimizing Jotform's UI user experience, but you don't need that. You can just go to ChatGPT, connect it with Jotform or whatever products you are using, and then just talk to it instead of using the UI. You don't need to learn UIs anymore. Like this is the result. Like you don't actually have to learn products. You can use products without ever learning their UI by just typing. And I actually tried, like I was thinking like what if I use voice on my mobile phone. This wasn't still available on voice, but here I see that there's a voice mode as well. So you can basically talk to any product. You don't even have to type. You can just you can say, okay, write this email for me or something like that. Just and the AI is gonna handle everything for you. This is amazing. There's just like
What do you
some.
think this is gonna like take us in regards to the tools like ChatGPT and Claude? Because I remember when I was interviewing someone the other day, they basically were saying maybe Claude and ChatGPT, and specifically ChatGPT more so, will essentially become this like monolith tool that's just connecting to a bunch of different tools, and it's the source point. Like maybe ChatGPT won't be it'll essentially just be this amazing connection tool where you're doing all of your work from the specific chat.
I think it makes sense. It makes total sense to me because now you can integrate. We have the agent mode on
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT. We have the MCP. Now you can connect it with other products. and you can actually do lots of things from ChatGPT. But the thing is, you're still using the other products, right? It's not like ChatGPT created a form for you. The other product actually makes sure that you have a good form. It's hosted by Jotform. It has all the security and hosting and all the features of Jotform for you. But basically, you're managing them from your ChatGPT interface. So I think that that's a good analysis. I agree with that. It also makes it so easy for you. Like I, the biggest problem with automation is like learning the tools, right? I wrote the book Automate Your Busy Work, and the when I talked to people about, like, when I was writing the book, when I was talking to people about automation, and the biggest problem was that, like, they don't actually take the time to research all the automation tools that are available at that time.
Sure.
uh like like, even if you find the product, like, you have to learn it, and then you learn it, and at like the last minute you figure that it actually misses the most important feature you need, and then so you have to switch to another product maybe, or it doesn't even work for you, things like that. But here you have the chat gpt interface where you can actually ask, like, okay, find me the best product for this, and once you find that best product for you, you just have to create an account. That's it. And then you talk to ChatGPT and ask it to do things, and you describe in your own words. You don't have to learn that UI. You don't have to learn the buzzwords of that specific area. Like, let's say you're gonna do a PR campaign, right? Maybe you need to find this PR product. You don't even know what to do, but if you talk to ChatGPT and say, okay, I'm gonna do a PR campaign, I have a product launch coming up, what do I need to do? It tells you, okay, you can do this. You can email, reporters. You can email, you know, you can go to podcasts, things like that, right? It tells you what to do. Okay, next, okay, how can I do this? How can I join podcast, right? And then maybe it will find you a product that can actually, like, has all the podcasts, listing podcasts, and then you can actually ask it to, like, turn that into a CSV file or something, and then
Yeah.
you can actually ask ChatGPT, okay, use my MCP connection with Gmail to create drafts to send a launch email for these reporters, for these bloggers or podcasters, and it's just going to create those things for you. So basically, uh, you you're also learning how to do things. You're also learning how to, like, in the past, like, automation was about first you do it yourself manually, and then you automate those things. Now you can
Yes.
actually bring all that, the domain knowledge is also included, and the usage of the products are also included, and you just ask ChatGPT to do these things for you. uh, this kind of reminds me of being like you're like a CEO or you're a manager, right? You have all these talented people working for you. You have the PR people, you have the, people, junior employees who can just, all day email people, right?
Hmm.
And all you are doing is basically like managing them, right? It feels like that. Instead of having all those people, you have the AI, and then you learn things from AI, just like a manager who learns from the people who are really who are proficient in one area. what
Yes.
what should we do about this, right? You ask ChatGPT, and then when they say, okay, we need to do this, and then you say, okay, how do we do this? Which products do we use? Like, what do we do? Next steps. And then you don't stop there, you and go out of ChatGPT. You keep using AI to do as well. And that's the agentic area. I think the promise of the agentic area is not just doing research with AI, but also taking actions and automating all the things you do without AI.
No, that's a very good point. You know, there's a lot of there's a lot of people who are going to start realizing that the capabilities that you get out of AI when it comes to communication are going to continue to improve. They're going to continue to sound better. They're going to continue to be more streamlined and effective. And managing people versus managing AI is night and day, to be frank. And if we start getting systems put together where AI is managing workflows, especially when it comes to responses, if you have a pretty standard way of operating, it's going to save companies a lot of time. It's going to be really effective. And what I think is interesting is I've heard a lot of the people we've interviewed on the show recently say people are going to start needing AI departments in their companies. And the reason for that is that you have all this innovation with products, right? You have all this innovation with MCPs, for example. I feel like nobody in my company is really taking advantage of utilizing ChatGPT and Claude to the level that, I would want them to, right? And MCPs are this unlock, and all these things are amazing. So I internally think
I'm gonna disagree with you on
you're
that.
gonna disagree with me. Okay.
Your depth on that.
Okay.
Because you remember, like in the past, like it was all about how to write prompts, right? You had to be really good at prompt writing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Prompt engineering was this new kind of position where companies are going to hire. But the thing, what happened was AI got so much better at understanding you. You didn't have to write prompts so well anymore. That AI you just wrote whatever you want, and AI understood what you're trying to do. The same way, I don't think you will need AI people in your company, because AI is also making things so simple that, again, you just tell it, okay, I want to do this, and it tells you how to do it. And I feel like we are not there. Is this MCP stuff? I had to figure it out, right? It took me a while. I mean, MCP has been out in November, and we haven't really, we knew that it was powerful, but until I started using it in the last weeks, that I figured out, oh, okay, this is amazing. This is a big moment. That's
Yeah,
when
I
I
as
feel,
well was in a similar position. I like, even though I have my finger on the pulse of what's going on, I guess maybe what I was trying to get at is like, yeah, that's a fair point. I think it'll get easier. I am actually, probably you disagree with them, but the conversations that came up was essentially having a department of a couple people, not necessarily teaching people at the company how to do day-to-day AI stuff, but implement like company-wide solutions, like in order to reduce the need for hiring and stuff like that. But I'm open to hearing different ideas on it. I think in general, just companies need to find a way to implement this stuff quickly, because it is actually interesting. There was that study done where essentially like 95% of agentic people are saying, like, I'm trying to remember which one it was, but new AI study, 95% not valuable. There was a new one. Yeah. Okay. So there's a viral MIT studying claiming that 95% of AI pilots fail. And what's so funny about this is people are saying it's flawed methodology, right? In the study, right? It's not like actually that true. But the fact of the matter is, I do think that, we are in our own little bubble and know how it works. And the value that exists, it's actually, in my opinion, when people are like, oh, it doesn't work, AI or whatever, I don't think it's a matter of the products aren't good enough at all, right? It's people not thinking of creative ways to use AI. The same thing was the case for automation, right? Like, companies still right now in knowledge work are like a decade behind on Zapier and Make.com and N8N stuff, right? That's why these startups are actually doing so well, even though they have less people. It's because these big companies and even medium-sized companies are just long on this stuff. And what I'm getting across is there is this gap, it seems like, and I don't know how to bridge it, between how good something like an MCP is, the average person just not using it at work when they could save hours a day at their job, but they just don't know how to do it, right? So I don't know how to bridge that gap, but I think the more I interview people, the more I realize it's not like the tools are not good enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, the tools are clearly good enough, but people aren't using them well.
I think it's just the regular adoption life cycle. Like, it takes a while. So there's the people who are open to new things and new technologies, who are constantly trying new things. They're kind of like, leading the way, and then they discover it, and then gradually people start using it. So, like, all these on YouTube or everywhere, like all these talks about like how the AGI or super intelligence, all that stuff is gonna end the world in 2026 or
Well, of
something.
course it is,
Like
Aytekin.
the
What are you
thing is,
talking about? We're all gonna die. I'm just kidding.
the thing is the adoption, like people don't adopt that fast, right?
Mm,
People adopt so much slowly. So those time scales, they make sense for AI, but it doesn't make sense for people. But people will adopt, and it's gonna take a while, but people will adopt. I'm seeing this like because just example online forms, right? I started Jotform in 2006. It's
yeah.
like almost 2 decades ago. It's gonna be almost 2 years in February. 20 years in February, almost like it's going to be 20 years in February. That's huge amount of time. And the market for online forms was
Mm,
like really small at that time because not many people were looking for online forms. They didn't even know like online forms was a thing. But then that adoption, like the transition, great, like it there was this growth during this time, and there was this big jump during the pandemic because people started like stopped using paper and then started like using digital forms more. There was this big 5 year jump in during the
yeah.
pandemic, but there's this trend like, and the adoption with people, it takes more time. And even like we are constantly talking about AI, and I've been aware of the power of MCP, but I haven't been really playing with it all this time. But now it's just like ChatGPT also added it, and I started seeing it. And then Jotform, we also released the MCP, product, and then we suddenly started seeing like also people using it, and I started looking into it and started using it daily, and that's when I saw that this is so powerful. This is huge. Even for us, like we are doing a podcast about AI agents, we haven't been like really using the MCP. So it takes a while, and it's
Yeah,
because people
exactly.
take time, and it's normal. And but in a couple of years, I think this is going to be like people will be aware of it, and then more people will be using it.
Well, I think what's interesting, and you brought up a good point, because I've had skeptics kind of come to us and try to do episodes and stuff. And, obviously we just pretty much interview founders and people who are pretty high on AI. And I think you're making a good point. Like, I don't really see a lot of the gloom and doom because even if there's a bunch of like tech improvement, I just don't see the adoption being followed as quickly as you're saying. So it's like I feel like regulation and stuff. I think we'll be fine. Is like I'm pretty like positive on AI. I don't have any of that gloom and doom in me. I think if no one even knows it exists, right, for the most part with these different protocols and these things, it's like if there's anything negative about them, the adoption is going to be so low and it's going to take. All I'm getting at is I'm positive on AI. I think everyone should be positive in general on this stuff.
Yeah, if you weren't positive about it, we wouldn't be doing this
Yeah,
podcast.
no, we wouldn't be doing the show exactly. But
Because
some
like
people,
every
yeah,
day we are talking to people who are like struggling, with their work, and like they are under so much busy work. They are still under busy work, even with this AI. And it's I'm not seeing any people who are saying, oh, now AI is like saved me so much work, I don't work anymore. No, people who are
no,
adapting AI, they are actually working harder. So I I haven't seen anybody getting losing their jobs because of AI. If like our AI agents are like now handling like half of our customer support at Jotform, but we now need more support people because our support people are spending more time with things like, reviewing all the AI conversations, or like, like just reviewing all the like many of the things AI is doing. Like just there are like so many things they are still doing. And so this is in general with automation. When you do automate things, you stop doing those boring things, but you still have more work because you find better ways to use your time to be more productive.
and you know what? A lot of people are saying as well in the interviews, which I think this is a great example of it. Is people are going to go from doing. People are saying, oh, you know what, this is going to cost us to do less work, right? But the real thing I'm hearing from a lot of people is it's not going to cause us to do less work. It's going to cause us to do better work, right? Like more fulfilling and effective work. If I'm able to take that hour away from my employee just to do the stupid thing of like looking in the email inbox, right? That leaves him time not to do more stuff, but if his role hasn't quite changed, it's just more effective use of his time, you know, and like more effective work, more fulfilling work. The more that we can reduce the, you know, I keep saying this phrase, not to like belabor the point, but AI is essentially the full vision, in my opinion, of what, and especially with something like MCP, I think this really showcases it. It's the vision of what Steve Jobs said a computer would be, a bicycle for the mind, right? If typing into a little box and it doing everything on the computer you want it to do on multiple different tools isn't a bicycle for the mind, I don't know what is, right? Because we are still been limited by, like we just even talked about, APIs in a sense are like, it opens the world up, but it's still limited to very technical people and you have to spend months getting it integrated on tools. But now you just type in a little chat box and it makes a dang form on a tool that has nothing to do with ChatGPT. You know? It's
I mean, you have to be a developer, like you have to know how to code to be able to implement something with an API in the past. But now you could just ask ChatGPT, okay, you know, use this API to do this, and then it will just do that. And because that wasn't very like, you know, the quality wasn't that high, they came up with this idea of MCP, which means like the MCP is like an API, but it has like more details. Like it can authenticate the user, it can provide the documentation to the AI so that it can understand what the API can do. So, and the basically this protocol allows AI to understand how the API works. So now when you talk to the ChatGPT, you can describe what you need, and it's going to be able to use the AI. It doesn't even have to write the code. It's just connected to API. It's in its own language. Basically, it's translating your language into maybe it's doing some pre-thinking, but other than that, it's basically translating your words into the language of the API, and then it's talking to it in a different language to the other server, other computer, in the MCP language, and basically it's doing those things for you because it knows how to talk to computer. So what really makes AI so powerful is it knows how to do in different languages, right? It can write in code languages. It can talk in code. It can talk in API. It can talk to human. Basically, AI is kind of like this translator. So it's a different way to look at MCP, anyways.
I agree. No, I think you're totally right. And if there's anything else, you know, I think that kind of puts us in a good spot to close the episode out. Do you have any other kind of like closing thoughts just in general, or is that pretty much where you think we can close it out?
Yeah, I think this is it. I feel like the potential for MCP is huge, and we're just discovering it. Like people are just discovering it, and just we are going to see so many good things happening with the MCP, and more products are using it. So you know, whatever product you are using today, just go off and look for their MCP implementation, and this will actually, and then try using them over ChatGPT, and you'll discover so many ways to automate your busy work, and you know that's amazing.
You know, I'd say last but not least, obviously go check out Jotform agents and try implementing the MCP into Claude or OpenAI or whatever it is. But I think it's sobering, you know, that the two of us weren't quite aware of how this stuff worked functionally because we hadn't used it even a couple weeks ago, a month ago, whatever it was for you. For me, it was a couple weeks ago. And you may be listening to every one of our episodes. And if that's the case, I'm not sure why you haven't subscribed or left a review yet. But, you know, it's all seriousness. Like, this is the type of stuff that will practically make your work life way better. Okay. So, like, please try and check this out for yourself. We're going to encourage you to do that. We're not just, a big value I think that we bring on this show is we're not just shoving Jotform AI agents down people's throats. We're like trying to practically show them tools and ways to save time and do more at work. So please check it out. We really appreciate each and every one of what you all are doing. And with that being said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.